All right. Well, that was different. Wound up just blanking out there, but I'm back. Okay, and hopefully you're back too. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question, which is, what are your go-to one shots? And I try to make sure that I match. Like I said, I try to match what I want to play, what I find fun to run, and then what do I think other people want to play, or that's going to be for them, as far as, are they new to a new RPG? Are they new to Dungeons and Dragons 5e? Are they new to whatever it is they're new to, that I think will be engaging to them? And then it's got to be a match for me, because why run something that you hate, that you hate running, for other people who may or may not like it. But I think you have to love your system first. You have to love the game that you love first. So otherwise, you're not going to enjoy it. You're just going to go through it and not think it's great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys and show you kind of some of what my go-to ones are. As far as my one shots go, I'll go over here to Roll20 and share them with you. Let's see here. Here we go. Over here on my Roll20. Now, some of these are fairly new. I just recently, one of the freebies for April, which I'm really excited that they put up here, was Sly Flourish. Has Fantastic Layers, it's called. Let's go ahead and just click on the one that I think I'm going to talk about here. Let's view all games here. And I like Roll20. I know there's a lot of people that prefer Foundry. It's a learning curve for me. So for me, it's not, I like Roll20. And I think they're going to up their game. I think they have enough money, and I think they have enough tech, and I think they have and I don't know this, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems that Roll20 is a larger company than maybe Foundry, and it can maybe afford more things, or throw more people at whatever they're doing. And I suspect, because the Wizards of the Coast VTT is going to be going up, then all when somebody comes out with something brand new like that, I think stuff like that makes all boats rise. And so people have to then either, and I don't mean they have to create a 3D, something like what Wizards is doing. I think they have to create something that is unique, something that they already have, and just they're making that better. And so let me go ahead and go through here. Fantastic Layers, which I think all of the Fantastic Layers, the low level stuff, like Lair of Lord Whiskers, and this is the one here. This is my one of my go-tos as far as a starter adventure for 5th edition. It is a second level adventure, and I made this over here over on Canva, and I put a couple of pictures in there of, just because the temple, spoilers alert, if you don't want to know anything about this adventure, if you think you're going to play it someday, then don't, turn it off. Just go away for a little while. I'm going to show you the maps. I'm going to show you some things. If you say, Paul, I'd like to run this, well, then stick around, and I'm going to show you all that. So, I'm just giving you the warning of what I'm doing here and what I'm going to be sharing, that there are spoilers here as far as that goes. So if you are interested in that at all, in playing it all, don't watch this. Okay, you have been duly warned. So I made this because the temple here, the Temple of the Centipede Cult, is an old temple dedicated to Asmodeus, there's a combination of things happening. I've run this a couple of different ways, and it is really interesting because my players give me so much to work with, and sometimes it's just an idea I have, and sometimes it's just like a wow moment. Every time I run it, I come up with something new. And Sly Flourish, Mike Shea, who is Sly Flourish, did all these fantastic layers. And I think this is a second level adventure. Let me go ahead and jump in here real quick and just kind of show you what I really like about it. And that's why, by the way, I have the centipedes. I wanted the centipedes because I knew I was going to do these live games. And so these centipedes come in really handy. And I have some other really even smaller ones because then you scale, right? You find a little one that you can beat up maybe and do just toss away. And then you got another bigger size one that you got to deal with. And then finally, in one of my games, this guy's name was Bruce. This big guy was named Bruce. We called him Bruce. And so, anyway, um, so as Roll20 is loading here, it's going to show you the maps, all that kind of good stuff that is in here. And I'll just show you. It's because it's a one map. It's a layer. That's what these are. But what I enjoy is that I created my own story on the front end as far as how they get here. Usually it starts with a sheriff giving a speech, and it's a election year, and he's got to solve this problem of missing people. And then eventually, like in one case, in one adventure, I had a market where people went and checked out the market. And then there's another group that went around and checked with all the townspeople. So this little adventure has tons of threads that have been made up. There's a library. There's lots of stuff. There's things that I have here that are just really, really fun. And so you can see here, this particular, let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and decrease it for you. You can see the whole map. But it's just, like I said, it's just, the layer is just one location, but it has 3 or 4 different rooms to it that is a contained area. The other stuff you're gonna have to make up. Like I said, made up my own stuff, but this particular map, oops, what just happened there? Let's go back to that. Why did it do that? That was weird. But yeah, when you get in here and you only have, like I said, 4 rooms you got to deal with, right? So if you want a quick, and once again, if I use the beginning parts of it, if I use my storyline and they're going off, that's a good 90 minutes between role play, which it was great role play in the sessions that I've done this in. And then the last part, you really got to hurry it up almost. Really, you got to, for me, I have to shorten that role play part to get them there, because if not, I have to shorten the adventure. So, you have to shorten the combat, which is not necessarily bad, but it gives them enough to do. Once again, let me go ahead and scale down a little bit here. And you can see that there are a couple of rooms. And the other reason I needed the centipedes is because I needed the different rooms, right? I needed the centipedes for the different rooms they're going to go into. And so as you can see here, you can go off. There's a little, there's a little hallway over here that they can go down to get into the bigger room. This room here has some statues in it that if they step on this thing, that's going to come alive. Then there's a room right over here that if they come over here, then they got to deal with some cultists in this room over here. So there's enough going on. And usually the people that are missing, they have names. I have a little sheet that I use with them. But that's just one of the go-to adventures that I have because there's a lot to do there. There's really, it's a go find these people. There's lots of role play. There's expanding the horizon because it's a Temple of Asmodeus. Yes, there's centipedes, and they say, Paul, what does centipedes have to do with Asmodeus? Well, in one adventure, I went ahead and had Asmodeus kind of get inside the mind of the centipedes, which Asmodeus used and all his power to find the most simplest man in town to be able to warp his mind so that he could come back to the Temple of Asmodeus and raise him up to where he could go from, a small centipede to a bigger centipede to then raising him up and then actually coming out of the centipede into our world. And that's really the big danger. They don't fight Asmodeus. At least, everybody has stopped it up to that point. Nobody has not stopped and killed the centipede and taken the people and so forth. So I'd be interested to find out what happens if Asmodeus escapes from the centipede, if that's what that happens. So, but yeah, I enjoy I enjoy this adventure a lot. I have not played the other ones as much, but I do enjoy this one, and I'm hoping to be able to play more of those. And I don't care whether they're level one. I mean, for me, let them play. You know, whatever level. It doesn't matter to me. You want to play I think if you play at 7th level, you're showing them, wow, look at all the cool stuff you have here. So let me go ahead and exit out of here and then show you kind of the other games that I have here that I use, that I will use for my, you know, if I want to do a one shot, you know, starter game kind of a thing. And then, you know, being like I said, being a professional GM, I want to find things that could lead into other things, right? And that if they want to keep going. So yeah, these are all there's a total, I think there's 11 or 12 if you buy the PDF, and I'll put a link down below that if you would like any of these, I mean, you can buy them on Drive-Thru RPG, I believe. And then you can, oh, and I've played Caves. I played Caves of the Cockatrice. That's an interesting one too. I won't go into that one tonight, but that is I like to do that one as a one shot, a fun one shot, because there's also people that have gone missing. I think finding lost people is a good, you know, people can get behind that. Oh, we're going to go find lost people. And then you're going down into a thing and there's cockatrices and people turn to stone, and then they find other things, which are a lot of fun there. Currently, another one that I like is my go-to is Frozen Sick. And Frozen Sick is a part of Explorer's Guide to Wildbound. It's an adventure that's in there. And I like it because it can go anywhere, right? I can, you know, there's lots going on in here that I'm not even familiar with. I mean, I've only run it twice, and I've only run it up to the first part. So I've only run it. We've not gone over to some of the other islands or caves or other things that are in there that you get to go to. And but Frozen Sick is a very good one. Is a very good first encounter, because you have a lot of things going on. You're trying to stop these, you know, you try, once again, spoilers if you're going to play it, if you're going to run it, feel free to listen. But yeah, they're trying to stop this thing they're finding that freezes people up and things like that. And so they're trying to find, you know, what's the deal behind that. And then they got to go check out this they got to go across the waters, which is really long, by the way. And then they got to go to this island. There was a floating island and it crashed. And then there's people going all the time over there trying to find, and they're doing adventure and trying to find strange and unusual things there. So the Elven Gate, by the way, the Elven Gate is a good one. It is, I think that's from DM Dave. And that's a very good adventure as well. That's combat heavy because it's undead in a forest. The Fall of Eos Kelder is good. And that is Esper Genesis is a good first. And then, of course, I have, you know, Curse of Strahd, which is a good one. Not for introductory or just one shots. Those other ones are good for one shots that lead into the rest of the story. I think there's that opening sequence in those adventures are really good. Then you have, let's see, I like Midgard, so there's a lot of Midgard in here. Let's see, where's my other, there's one more in here I want to share that I think is a good go-to for an opener. Let's see, The Blind Cavern is a good one. Let's see, A Dire Need is good. Let's see, I'm looking for the one, and of course, Lost Mine of Foundelver, Dragons of Icespire Peak are all good one shots that you can do. Wolves of Welton, that's what I'm looking for. The Wolves of Welton is good because you can always throw a werewolf in there if you want to, but it is a very good one shot of being able to put out there. So those are my go-to one shot games that I think you know, afford themselves to good dynamics, a good balance of combat, role play, exploration. I think those are all pretty good, pretty solid in that regard. But yeah, I think those are good. If you have any questions, by the way, you are welcome to. And I'll show you two more. These are a little bit higher level though. Um, these ones here, also DM Dave has some really good layers. One is called the Vampire Church, and that's for 5e. And then I have this is Castles and Crusades. Tons of lore, by the way. But this particular adventure, if you're going to do Castles and Crusades, this is called the Rising Knight. Lots of stuff going on there. That's a protect the town, samurai, Seven Samurai or the Magnificent Seven type of thing, where you gotta help this town fend off intruders that have, and the government is no longer paying attention. They're kind of on the outskirts and they're not sending any help towards them, and so it becomes an interesting dynamic there. So, but yeah, that is those are my go-tos. So if you have any questions about any of those, please let me know. I'd be happy to be able to share more ideas. And let's see. Let's go one more question. I'm just going to do a couple tonight. I don't want to go too long, just because, who wants me to go too long? Nobody wants me to go too long. I will share this one. So let me give you another one here. Do you have any guidelines or rules for creating backstory? And this, I really enjoy backstory. Not to the point where I'm like, you got to have 5 pages of, stuff. not in for that at all. But all I did for my players that want to have a backstory, I don't try to create a backstory for them. I allow my players to kind of do that. But yeah, if you want to create a backstory, all I did was give them an index card and said, hey, go to town, write me down some things, right? I think it's in gaming terms. I think it's called wishes and stars, right? Like what kind of, it depends on your audience too. If you're talking with students, they may be more or less creative, who knows, right? Depending on them, they might write a 5-page book. I know I have had teenagers that I know that would write a 5-page backstory, have no problem. Then you got some that are like, I have no idea what this person's about. So the adults that I have here, I give them an index card and say, hey, check this out. What would you like to do? How would you like to see your character progress? And the group that I have now, that I'm actually doing this with their cards, we've almost been playing for almost a year. So that's really exciting. And I just got through with one of them. Let's see. One of them wanted to do, they wanted to face a vampire threat. And throughout the game, I mean, they kind of knew. I set it up for them. I didn't say, hey, by the way, this is your big event. I just said, look here, what would you like to do here? And I said, look, your choices are. So I said, look, how would your character feel if they got bit? And so I think he wanted to get bit, but he doesn't know yet. He didn't know how his character was going to feel. So as part of combat, it's just the way it went out. If the vampire didn't bite him, I wouldn't have asked the question, but the vampire did bite him. So I said, okay, what does that look like then? You have, if you run now, you may be able to find somebody in town who can help you. There's no guarantee of that. There'll be a percentage roll, things like that. And instead, I gave him the option. I think that's really important when you're dealing with backstories and creating backstories in real time with players, is that you work with them. You're not just trying to, force something on them. You don't want to make somebody undead that doesn't want to be undead. That's not fun. So when you're helping them do the story with them, I asked them to say, hey, how would your character feel about this? Okay. You've chosen not to go back to town. So that means you're going to turn, and actually wound up becoming, I made it to where they became a Dhampir. And so they are really kind of stoked about that. They're really excited about that. And then for another player, as far as their backstory, they gave me a backstory that they wanted to, that they were a pirate on a ship and had, worked, as a learned wizardry and use those skills on the ship. And so we're going to be exploring that. At the end of my last adventure, I wound up where they were putting like a puzzle together. Let's see if I can show you that. I can show you the puzzle that I had here. let's see. Let's see. Is it right here? There we go. So yeah, I put a little puzzle there, and in addition to the letters that they had to unscramble, it was a dark deep blue. It was a deep blue rock slab of rock that there was a map imprinted on it. And I said, you find a bag, and in the bag is this thing's all broken up and everything. And so they had to put the pieces of the rock back together, which they did with this, and they wound up spelling out Indigo Islands or Indigo Isle. And there was a map there they had to put together too, not shown here. And what they did is they put it together, and it wound up to where an ethereal ship came up out of the map, and it had the player's old captain on it. And I'll build it into the next adventure, where the backstory was that somebody from his pirate community wound up coming to this vampire in the mist somewhere, and went hunting for this sword that he wanted, and wound up getting killed. But everybody has this bag with them that maybe all his pirates would carry something with them that would allow the if they could call upon it, to call upon the ship to come get them if they were in trouble, something like that. Some sort of strong wizardly like that all the pirates got. So maybe some have a paper map, some have a stone map, some have a trinket of some kind that they're able to get called back to the ship somehow. And so they were given the option then to, when the ship came up, to go ahead and get on that ship. Or I also gave them the option, because they were in the vampire place there, that they rescued some inquisitors who were after this vampire, and they happened to be hunting and trying to undo some of Strahd's work. So their choice was get on this ship and go to these kind of Caribbean isles and much daylight and so forth, which the Dhampir will work around, I'm sure. Or you're going to go deeper into the darkness, and you're going to go to Barovia, and you're probably going to play Curse of Strahd. And I don't tell them you're going to play Curse of Strahd or you're going to play whatever you're going to do. I just say, look, that's just the next phase of the adventure. So, but that is as far as guidelines for backstories. Let your players write out a little card for you and say, hey, just tell me a few things of your past that you think would be cool that you found out about yourself. Like if you found, if you already know that you were a pirate, or that's part of your background, then put it in there. If you knew that, everything doesn't have to be my family was, destroyed by a dragon. If that's your backstory, then that's your backstory. Then use that, right? But don't hinder anybody. Let them kind of write whatever they want, and then you as the Dungeon Master begin to produce those things. I have my other two players here. They have things like set on a life quest to attain magic armor and a magic sword, which actually happened. I forgot this was in here, but this player actually got their magic sword, but not magic armor. So that's a winner right there. Got a magic sword, except it's sentient, and it wants to kill the undead every 3 days. And then I have a warlock that wants to accidentally unleashes a powerful evil the party will have to contend with. Possibly deals with his poor warlock patron. So I think I have an idea for that. But all of these things I'm going to flesh them out and help them create their backstory. Once again, these are just little lines. This is not a lot of words here, right? It's just 3 lines, and then it goes off into whatever story it is they want to build. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. That's really all I wanted to kind of share with you guys tonight. I hope that you enjoyed the live stream here. If you want more live streams like this, like I said, this is a lot easier for me than actually creating a video. And once again, I think it's that if you're now just coming in, the beginning I said that there's because I heard somebody say that, they got tired of watching a lot of show and tell videos. Well, show and tell videos are, hey, here's a product, or here's a thing, or here's the only thing unique that I can offer you is the stories from my table. And so I want to tell you more stories from my table and how it can impact your table. And ideas. So if you've enjoyed this and maybe there's some things, or if you have a question for the next one, or if you have a question now, I listen, if you have a question and you're here right now, I'll be happy to answer it. If not, if you don't have a question for right now, that's okay. You can let me know down in the comments for the next time I do a live stream. What are your questions? What are your DMing questions? I would love to hear what you have, and then maybe I can help share some things. Because, like I said, I want my table to make your table better if I can. If there's something I'm doing, or if there's something you're doing to make my table better, well, then I want to know that as well. But thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. Whether you're watching now or you're watching in the future, I just thank you for your time and your attention, and leave some comments. And hopefully I will schedule another Tuesday night at some point, or maybe it may not be Tuesday night. Maybe I need a regular night. I don't know. We'll see about that. But just when I get it in me, I'll make sure that I post it here, let you know I'm going to go live a couple hours or so forth, maybe earlier that day. Then I'm going to go live that night, and then just bring your questions with you, and I'll be happy to answer any and all of your DM questions, adventure questions, or we'll just sit and chat and have ourselves a good time, which I'm down with as well. So, but anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much once again for being here. And I will catch you guys in the next live stream. So we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one, everybody.